And welcome in to the Wednesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Joe Rexrode, good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. What's going on?
Not much. Just about, disappeared in my chair. I do have a quick question for you guys.
Sure.
Just because it just hit me as I just looked at this. So, Twitter, whatever the hell it is now. So now you can't do DMs, is that right? I'm not paying for any of this crap. You can't do DMs. I think that's right. And then also, why is this thing over here? This thing says Grok, which is what is like their AI thing. But like sometimes it'll have like a number. Like I have 2 next to the Grok. Does that mean Grok is trying to talk to me? Grok has no 2 messages for me? Like what does this mean?
I have no
Couldn't tell
idea.
you, man.
Okay.
You talk about something.
Thanks for nothing.
First off, I didn't like you can't DM anymore. Is that a thing? I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, what used to say messages now says chat, and when I click on it, it says "Welcome to new X chat." Blah blah blah, and it's like create a passcode and all this stuff.
No.
I assume that means that they're going to try to hit me up for. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, they change this stuff every day. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, need to get off this site.
But
then again, there's some good stuff on there.
There is.
We may have to play a little Mick Cronin later.
Are you raising your voice at me? Yes, you are.
There's cameras on you. Oh my God. Yeah, we got to play that. We got to play that at some point. Maybe for Kuharsky later.
Yeah. Ian, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Doing just fine, thanks. Stayed up, watched a little bit of hoops last night. A little bit of Nashville SC getting their season kind of underway with some CONCACAF stuff, Champions League thing. So that was okay. Watched a little bit of that. A little bit boring.
That game was in Canada, right?
It was. Yeah,
so
it was 36 degrees.
Yeah, somebody on purpose decided to play soccer in Canada on February the 17th.
Ottawa.
Yeah, interesting.
I believe. So, 36, that's pretty lucky.
It is.
Considering what it could be.
They got really lucky on that.
But, yep, I'm good back here. I got the Olympics on, got some hockey, and I got my Charmed. So we're ready to roll on this Wednesday. Thanks.
I brought my Team USA hockey jersey in today. It's a big day.
Yes.
To me, like the Olympic tournament actually starts today. Like we've gotten through the pool play stuff, and now it's win or go home. I mean, unfortunately for the United States, they've taken like the toughest possible quarterfinal matchup here on what I believe. I know that Finland beat them earlier this year, but I believe Sweden's the third best team in the world. And I think US is either first or second. We're going to find out hopefully a little bit later in the tournament, but going to be an interesting game today for the US. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, this should be a semifinal, but it's not.
It is not. So we'll see what that ends up looking like a little bit later today. But I'm like in full Tennessee, Alabama level intense today. I'm fired up about this game.
Slovakia up 1-0 early second period against Germany.
Okay,
this morning right now.
There we go. We'll see if Slovakia can pull that one off. We got a lot going on the show today. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us in the second half of the program. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. So looking forward to that coming up a little bit later in the show. Joe, we begin today with an idea that I have at this point seen multiple people throw out there on the social media discourse that frankly I had not thought about at all before I saw this being tossed around out there. And our good friend Mike Herndon has thrown this out there a little bit. Matt Harmon, football writer and analyst for Yahoo, has thrown this out there. And one of his tweets has generated a lot of response on all this. And that is the idea of the Titans, quote unquote, buying a draft pick by taking on Tua Tagovailoa's contract from the Miami Dolphins. So this is what Matt Harmon threw out there. It says the Titans are the team that should call the Dolphins and, quote, buy a draft pick, end quote, by taking on the Tua contract. They got a stupid amount of cap space to take on the deal, and he just becomes a non-threatening backup quarterback to Cam Ward. So the idea being, Joe, that the Titans get a draft pick from the Dolphins for taking on Tua's contract, and then I guess at that point, if you wanted to restructure it or maneuver it or have the Dolphins eat some of it and that affects the draft capital and your return, then you could do that at that point. But Herndon, I've seen others throw it out there. I mean, Herndon said this yesterday, said would be need to be a pretty high pick to take on that much money, but trading Levis for a pick and then getting a pick to take on the Tua cap would effectively upgrade your backup quarterback spot and give you a couple additional draft picks. Pretty good use of cap space. That's what Herndon had to say. So, Joe, I ask you, I had not even considered this. What do you make of the idea of the Titans, quote unquote, buying a draft pick from the Dolphins by taking on the Tua Tagovailoa contract, thus solving their backup quarterback problem as well?
Well, I never would have thought of this. I could never have come up with something like this. And when I first saw it, I was like, what? It's just stupid. And then I thought about it. I was like, I actually don't hate it. I think the biggest thing about it is, what is the draft pick? Can you get any sort of that salary? Can you get them to, take any of it? And then, the impact here, like on Cam Ward. I mean, some people would be like, well, you shouldn't bring like a starter in who thinks he's still a starter in this league. When everything's about Cam Ward. Now you're going to have a guy who makes more than him coming in here, to be his backup. But I don't think that would bother Cam Ward. And frankly, if Cam Ward's not good next year, then you actually would have an alternative, like a viable alternative, a better alternative than Will Levis. So the more I think about it, actually, the more that I like it. Again, if certain things are met, I mean, Matthew from Jolton says it have to be a second rounder. If you can get a second rounder out of this, take that salary, improve your backup situation. And Levis, like Herndon's there talking about, what are you going to get for Levis? I mean, I don't think you're going to get a lot. But, yeah, you can get a later pick, you would think, from somebody for him. And all of a sudden, you do have the cap space. You can still go out and do whatever you want to do. Not whatever, but you can do a lot of what you want to do, even by taking this number on. So I'm team Tua. Let's do it.
Well, first off, you'd have to tell me what sort of draft pick you're going to get in return, because it'd need to be pretty high. Like, I'm talking first or second rounder, maybe third. But to me, if it's going to be a third, they better be eating some of the money. Like, I'm not taking on all that money for anything less than a first or second rounder. So that would be where I would start if I'm the Titans. And we'll get into this a little bit more with Kuharsky later, because he talked about this a little bit too. But it's going to be about a $45 million cap hit that as presently constructed with Tua. So while the Titans still would have plenty of room after that, that is a pretty significant chunk of the cap space that they've got right now. So, I understand it's the NFL and you can maneuver things around. And I mean, look, even with Tua, like if you wanted to restructure it, I guess you could.
Yeah.
When he got here. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a $45 million cap hit. But for me to do this, I better get a pretty significant draft pick in return. That would be my approach to this.
100%. That's the thing. I mean, you wait and see what you do. There's some people in free agency you'd like to sign probably. Maybe you can't. And so maybe then you can just take that hit, and then you don't have to worry about kicking the can on the road. Because, yes, it does affect you later. You're going to lose a mid-level player at some point because of the cap if you keep kicking the can. Maybe they just can't do everything they want to do, and they have the space to just take it on and knock it out, And, I think the biggest, I have to assume that Miami is motivated here to find something like this. Again, you look around, and there aren't that many teams. Now, look, there are teams, and this is where the cap gets, the cap is a soft cap. So there's other teams that could do this that don't, because they don't have the cap space. They can figure it out. Whether it's the Dolphins taking some on, like you said, restructuring it, you can do that. But it actually could work. The Titans could still sign whoever they're going to sign, and that probably means they do lose out on some people that they wanted to sign, and be fine. And I think then you get to just the biggest question of Tua here as a backup with Cam. I mean, it's funny, like 2 years ago, Cam was like, oh, wow, this kid's moving up, playing with the Miami Hurricanes, and, he gets to watch this pro play in the same stadium. And now it's like, come on over here, be my backup, buddy. But that's where things have gone for Tua. Is Tua going to be a good QB2 for someone? Yeah, I mean, some of those questions are interesting, like the locker room dynamic of it.
Well, is there anybody out there that wants him to start next year? Or I don't know if wants him to start is the right word. Is there anybody out there based on the quarterback options that look like they're available right now this offseason that is going to have him come in and start next year? Now, I don't know. I mean, wasn't a good year for Tua. I mean, he had 15 picks this year in 14 games. It's not what you're looking for. And obviously, it fell apart to the point where they moved on from him and moved on to Quinn Ewers at the end of the year. So I don't know that I necessarily see an automatic starting landing spot for him next year. But it is interesting. Like, he's 27 years old. Like, he has played good football in this league before. Now, he's never been what we thought he was going to be, going from college to the NFL.
I was
But,
way off.
he's had some decent seasons here. So I just wonder, at age 27, does he find himself into either a starting job next year, Joe, or a situation where somebody looks at it and says he can come in here and compete, or at least, if we need to pivot pretty quickly, we've got an option there.
Yeah, like Minnesota,
right?
Maybe would be. I think that there's a lot of talk about like Mac Jones, people trying to pry him away from San Fran. I also think Kyler Murray is definitely ahead of Tua in the pecking order. Texter says, why trade Levis, make him the backup quarterback? Because I don't see Cam make it through the year. Well, this is part of this.
Right.
We're talking about trading Levis because you traded for Tua. So now Tua is your backup. I can promise you that Tua would be one of the best backups in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. And again, it's not his call. He doesn't have any say in this.
Sure.
So, and also the Titans have a little experience and success taking Dolphins retread quarterbacks.
That is true. That has worked out well for them in the past. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. So that's where we start today. What do you make of the idea that's been thrown out there of potentially, quote, buying a draft pick from the Dolphins by taking on Tua and his contract? We'll get more of your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
So the Dolphins would love to be able to trade him, but this is a guy who got benched late in the season for Quinn Ewers, and it feels unlikely that someone's going to want to trade for a $54 million guarantee this year. So if the Dolphins are able to trade him, it's probably because they were willing to either take less and or pay down some of that salary. If they end up releasing him, Kevin, it is a $99.2 million dead money cap charge. They can split it up over 2 years, but it's still going to be 99.2. So the Dolphins have to reset at quarterback, and they may be doing so around that massive dead cap figure.
That's Dan Graziano on the Tua situation with the Dolphins. I mean, the outright release there, $99 million. I guess you'd probably at that point spread out over a couple years. That's a tough one for the Dolphins. They'd probably like to see him traded too.
Yeah, I would think so, man. So how motivated are they? How willing are they to give up a pick? That's the thing. If you're them, it's like, yeah, well, we need to rebuild our crap too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the cap matters. This is, again, if you wonder if the cap is real, and if it's not, then who cares? Let's keep them on, keep that money. Just kick down. Who cares? Just kick it down the road. It's fine. No problem. Won't mess us up at all.
Cap.
So it's like the question of unloading that. And, certainly I think also it's like, just, he's got to get out of here. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Tannehill, really, is like, well, Ryan, that he got the second deal, then it's time to move on. Got a chance with Tua now. You can go get Tua. Everybody get excited. I know I was excited. And it's just like, okay, here you go. 4th round pick from the Titans. Sure. Bye, Ryan. Thanks a lot. Different situation here because they're saddled with this contract, but same idea. There's a beyond just like the money and the picks and all that stuff. It's just like you have to have a fresh start. And so if you can unload the deal, is it worth a high pick to you?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. And all this again is why I'm looking at Jeff Hafley. I'm like, really? You were like, you're just that excited, like that locked into this job? Okay, cool. See how that goes. Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Kenny, the mailman, to the program. Kenny, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, good friends. How are y'all?
Doing great,
Good, Kenny.
Good. This is one of those things. It's an idea. Tua can still play. It sounds good when it comes out, but it just can't happen here. Would y'all agree with me that the Titans line is not very good?
It certainly was not for the majority of last year. Now, they got better at the end, but I feel like we've had that conversation before.
Their line is not very good. You take Ward out and you send in a left-handed quarterback. All of a sudden, your weak tackling guard or your strong tackling guard. Your strong tackling guard or your weak tackling guard. Your center has a different point for hiking the ball. The running backs is a different way to handle every step. People don't realize going into that, if you have a left-handed quarterback, you better have 2 of them because everything is different when you send someone else in. If you want an extra draft pick, you could sign Brandley Chubb and just call him the newest player that you bring in because you need a defensive lineman. Some of these other ideas, they sound good, but there's just not a lot of thought behind. That can't happen here. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Kenny. You as well. Yeah, I mean, the left-handed quarterback stuff is interesting.
That's a good point on left-handed quarterback. It's a pain.
It is a pain. It's
although for him, then it's like, oh, good, I can see if the man door is open or not. I don't have to wonder if the man door is open or not.
Got
right
a bird's
in my
eye
line of
view
vision
of the man door over there, and you just worry about Latham on the other side.
But there are teams that have had a right and a left, and this is part of why the very few lefties in general,
which is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. So I hear that, but again, the hope is he's just your backup, right? Like the hope is. And if you get to him playing, what does that mean? I don't know. I mean, it either means Cam Ward got hurt, which isn't good, or Cam Ward is playing so poorly that you're going to Tua, and that's not good. And again, some people I think would argue against this, saying, does Cam Ward need this guy? Looking over his shoulder, this guy who clearly thinks he still should be starting in this league, looking over his shoulder. And I think maybe with some guys that wouldn't be good. Like maybe with Levis, I might not have done something like that because he already is so like, like some every pressure on every snap. But I just feel like Cam Ward, whether he's going to be really good or not, I don't know. But I think he's got the right mindset.
Look, I'm not going to say that I'm totally closed off to this idea. I am not a huge proponent of this, going to buy a draft pick from the Dolphins. I'd kind of rather just see them do what Kenny brought up there, and that is, rather than taking on this money and going to get another draft pick, just go use the money to get a player, right? Like just go sign an edge rusher or go sign a wide receiver. And not that you can't do that in addition to this, but I'd rather have the cap flexibility and the ability to just go sign some guys over the next couple of years and build your roster and kind of supplement your roster that way than get too worried about this. I mean, look, if you can find a way to weasel a second-round pick out of the Dolphins, like if they're willing to go that high, then I mean, I guess you have to think about it at that point. But on the surface, I'm not overly excited about this idea to go take Tua from the Dolphins.
Yeah, I get that. And I wouldn't call myself excited either. But I would say Miami has to be motivated to do this. I would definitely be in the mix on the phone with them. And maybe you do get to the point where it's like a high pick and some of the money. And it's like, well, the backup, very expensive backup quarterback, but also a high pick. And a high pick, they are very valuable,
Well,
so like how desperate do they get? And like how many other teams would even engage with them on this?
Right. No.
Because if they get to the point where it's like crap, like what are we going to do? You might be able to fleece them.
Might be able to. I mean, it's an interesting proposal. There's no doubt about that. I also wonder this. I've said this too. Whatever they do at backup quarterback this offseason, whether they go with we're going to have some veteran in here approach because we still feel like our young quarterback needs a veteran in the room. Or we've talked about the idea of like, is Will Levis, should he be your backup quarterback? To me, regardless of who it is, you need your backup quarterback to be able to play, right? Like if we don't need Brandon Allen trotted out there and knowing that it's like, well, this is just not going to go well. Like you need to have some level of competent play, and that's hard to find in today's NFL with a backup quarterback. So this would solve that. Now, are you willing to pay $45 million to do it? Like in order for me to sign off on this, number one, what's the draft pick? And number two, what exactly does the structure of this look like with his money, right? I think that is going to have to be something that Borgonzi would really have to work on here.
Yeah, and then what are their plans? Maybe they didn't plan to go on a spending spree. They were just going to kind of, get some, add some depth, and they were going to have plenty of cap space to roll over. And now it's like, well, this gobbles that up, but also a second-round pick. Okay, I mean, another one of those that can add a starter right like that, and you need a lot of that help. So, but I agree with you on backup quarterback. And the good thing is, to me, if nothing else happens, I mean, Will Levis is fine as a backup quarterback to me. Right? And at this point, it's like, I don't care. I think a year ago, it's a totally different thing when it's like he's coming off his year, when it's like, oh, he's going to be the guy. And now this is the guy. I think now it's like he's humbled. And if you have to just go with Will Levis as your backup quarterback, I think that's definitely better than Brandon Allen.
At this point, if Levis isn't smart enough to understand that he's got to be at the top of his focus level, intensity level, and not, the sour grape stuff, if he doesn't understand that right now, then it's not going to work out for him very well in this league.
I don't think
that'll be a problem.
Do we think Levis needs more practice still, though? That's the thing about the backups. During the week, you don't really practice.
You're like the scout. You're the scout team quarterback, basically.
So
show team. Sorry, Vrabel. Yeah. Show team.
With Levis being as young as he is and inexperienced, I feel like he needs to practice.
I would agree, but I will also say this. I'd feel better about Will Levis being thrown into the game than Brandon Allen at the end.
He has started games in this league.
I mean, Brandon Allen, we saw it, and I understand Jacksonville is a good team, and they closed it, and they still had a lot to play for then. But like Brandon Allen is horrible. Like that has got to be up. It's not at the top of the list of things they got to do this offseason. But backup quarterback needs to be a priority, not your top priority, but it needs to be a priority this offseason. You got to figure that out. And if that's Levis, great. if it's a veteran quarterback, I need the veteran quarterback to be able to actually play.
And I do still agree with Josh, as we've talked about. Yeah, just trade Levis for Winston, and let's all live happily ever
Well,
after.
I'm trying not to really gas myself up about that because I don't want to be supremely disappointed when it doesn't happen.
We got the biggest fan of that idea coming in later
Yeah,
today.
we sure do.
Yeah.
We sure do. Speaking of options that could be available in free agency, I read something yesterday, Joe, that further convinces me that at least one guy at wide receiver is probably definitely going to be available. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I mean, Joe, we've talked about potential free agent targets at wide receiver for the Titans. How many of those guys are actually going to make it to free agency? I mean, we've discussed Alec Pierce. I mean, according to Schefter, he may get tagged. Like, we'll see what that looks like in Indianapolis. We've talked about the idea of if the Colts elect to keep Alec Pierce, could Michael Pittman shake loose as a potential cap casualty there? It looks like Mike Evans might make it to free agency out of Tampa Bay, so we'll see what happens on that front.
He's definitely coming back.
But one guy that, I think the phrase I used earlier in the offseason when we talked about this, Joe, that I would almost guarantee you is getting to free agency is Romeo Doubs from Green Bay. And some headlines yesterday. So Matt Schneidman, who covers the Packers for The Athletic, did a mailbag. And essentially, Joe, he was being asked about like Matthew Golden and why he wasn't used enough this year and what the role for him is going to look like moving forward. And in the answer, he said, quote, "I'd expect him to be a much bigger part of the game plan next season. I'm not putting him above Christian Watson or Jaden Reed just yet, but I wouldn't hesitate to use him over Dontavian Wicks. And Romeo Doubs is as good as gone in free agency." So that part of it, the Romeo Doubs being as good as gone in free agency, generated a lot of headlines around the NFL yesterday. Now, as I've said, Joe, reading the room here, it's really not rocket science to figure this out. Like, Romeo Doubs is a good receiver. Romeo Doubs on the open market is going to be able to make more money than Green Bay is going to be willing to pay him. They've got other receivers. So Green Bay is not beholden to Romeo Doubs re-signing there. They've got other guys to take that spot. So it's a long way of saying is you can basically guarantee that Romeo Doubs is going to be a free agent. So we've talked about these guys that are potential free agents. How many of them actually get there by the time NFL free agency begins next month? Well, I can almost guarantee you Romeo Doubs is going to get there. He is going to get there next month. So with that in mind, Joe, like, how do you view that if you're the Titans? And how deep down the rabbit hole with Romeo Doubs are you willing to go if you're the Titans, knowing that he is not a number one wide receiver? I think he's a pretty good number two that is excellent in the red zone. And that's what he is. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what he is.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're talking 174 catches, 2,050 yards, 11.8 a catch, 19 touchdowns. That's what stands out in that, especially when it's 50 games, 19 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty good. He had 8 of them in 23. The most he's had yardage-wise, 674 in that 23 season. Missed some games, so you got that. But, yeah, I'd definitely be interested. I would definitely be interested. And just for me, and you've watched him more than I have, but there are times when I've watched him and thought, man, like, there's something there. Like, he could be.
Oh, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's good player. I mean, it would be a good ad. It would be, again, you would slot him immediately ahead of Io Manor,
Yes,
for sure. And that's what you want to do. You want to improve the room, and you would have competition there too, because Io Manor can get better. And that's something to shoot for, but you would instantly have a guy who has produced at a pretty high level here in this league.
You would. Like I said, he's not going to solve your problem of still needing like that dynamic player at wide receiver, because he's not that. For the most part, he's pretty sure-handed. And like I said, he's really good in the red zone there. So there's definitely value in that. Like, I'm looking at the projected market value for him that Spotrac has thrown out there, and it is in the neighborhood of $12 million per year. So, like, I don't think he's going to go out here and break the bank. You read off his numbers. Like, his numbers are not great. Like, this last year, he had 55 catches for 724 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think people hear the phrase number 2 wide receiver, and they probably expect numbers to be a little bit better than that. I would also say Green Bay, they basically just rotate through their wide receivers. So they play like 5 guys a lot. It's not just Dobbs out there all the time. So I think that's part of why this is happening, that he's making it to free agency. And I also think that's part of, like, if you're Dobbs, you're looking at it and say, I can go somewhere else and probably get more balls thrown my way. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. But honestly, if the Spotrac projection is right and he ends up making 12.5 per year, I'd be all over that if I were the Titans. I think he'd definitely be worth that.
Yeah, that's a very, that's like running back money, man.
Yeah.
So no, that would be, I think, a great value. So then how pursued would he be out there?
I think he'd be, especially at that number, I
Yeah.
think there'd be a lot of teams interested in that.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then the number goes up. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's your, that's his agent's like, yeah, that's the starting point.
Right.
Okay. So let's get the competition going here. But yeah, I think that's definitely a guy the Titans should be in on for sure. And maybe one of the, probably one of the best. I mean, I don't know. There was the one, whatever. What the heck happened with him again? I know somebody brought this up. I remember something went on.
He missed a couple years ago. He missed practice. Like, he just didn't show up to practice on a Thursday, and then LaFleur benched him that Sunday. But that was it.
Just didn't play him in the whole game.
He didn't play. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Little tough love from the toughest coach in the NFL, Matt LaFleur.
Great coaching going on out there. Yeah.
Hey, accountability. LaFleur learned it from the great Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, it's going well too. I mean, instead of firing the terrible special teams coach that he had, he waited until February 17th for the special teams coach to step down yesterday. So they're totally behind the 8 ball. It's good stuff.
Interesting.
Great handling of that situation by LaFleur too.
Does he know Ackerman?
Oh, well, sure he does.
Give him a call. Where's
He's got
Ackerman?
a job.
Ackerman's
Yeah.
got a
Ackerman's in
job.
Miami.
Baby.
Is
No,
it
he's
Miami?
in Atlanta.
Atlanta. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Stefanski in Atlanta has taken the
tampering.
approach of just signing all the former Titans coaches. If they're not on Harbaugh's staff in New York, it's like, well, get Bill Callahan out there in Atlanta, get Ackerman and special teams coach.
Interesting stuff happening with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
It is. If would Titans fans, I don't know that Romeo Dobbs excites people, right? He's not it's not like the Titans are going out there and bringing in Randy Moss or anything like that. But you're talking about a 25-year-old receiver that has demonstrated, basically 4 years of being productive at this point, right? Those guys typically don't make it to free agency when they've been as productive as he is at his age.
They've been upgrading, man.
Right, but because of their, the situation in Green Bay, there's no reason for Green Bay to pay him the amount of money he's about to make at free agency. So I think it's a worthwhile discussion if you're a Titans. If you're Borgonzi looking at this, it's like, well, he's pretty darn good in the red zone. He doesn't solve our needing a number 1 wide receiver problem, but he does strengthen the room a lot. That would help a lot.
Yeah, and those are the kind of guys you like to see get to free agency because they're part of something where there's just an abundance of good players and younger players, cheaper players of their position, as opposed to, good luck to you. We don't know what we're going to do, but we just like you to leave.
Yep.
It's not one of those situations.
He does wear the Guardian cap, which Mike from Pennsylvania points out on the text line. That Titans Guardian cap over the top of him with a new helmet could be cool.
I think so too. I think it's a cool look personally. Jess in the YouTube chat's talking about Indy. They're talking about trading Pierce to the Titans. So is that we talking tag and trade Pierce to the Titans? I assume then.
If I'm the Titans, I don't know that I'm interested in the franchise. I mean, look, they got enough money, so I guess it's for 1 year. It really wouldn't matter all that much. But
then who's like, oh yeah, we'd like to have Alec Pierce for 1 year and pay him
an exorbitant amount
Justin
of money.
Jefferson money? Yeah.
Thanks,
Colts.
I just the tag thing with him in particular it's hard for me to get
absurd.
There.
Yeah, I think. I just no one wants to pay that much money to Alec Pierce.
615-737-1025, our phone number. So we had Rexrode throughout his draft take last week that got people going, and by people I namely mean me, on the offensive tackle front. I'll throw one out you coming up next that I don't think Titans fans would like at all, but I think this dude may be the best player in the entire draft. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, you had your offensive tackle take last week. But, hey, Titans better bend over backwards, draft an offensive tackle. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just really.
I stand by my take.
Just, yeah. In all seriousness, I mean, the idea of like, hey, if you've evaluated the offensive tackle as the best player, take the offensive tackle if you're the Titans, which I don't want to see them do that, but I at least understand where you're coming from on that thing.
Thank you.
There's another situation that, let me be clear, I am not advocating for the Titans to do this, but I think if the Titans drafted this player, he would probably be at the top of the list of players I feel most good about having a really good NFL career. And that is Caleb Downs. Like Caleb Downs, you can make the argument is the best player in the draft. Now, if you go look at all these, how people rank players, some people have Arvell Reese as the best player in the draft. And a lot of that's, projecting out and seeing what the potential looks like there. Some people have Jeremiah Love as the best player in the draft. Some people have Fernando Mendoza as the best player in the draft. So, it's all over the map in terms of what people think here. But pretty much everybody has got Caleb Downs in like the top 5 of their best players in the draft. And we talked about Brugler and what he said on Downs last week, which was that he was one of the best safeties that he's ever evaluated. So, Joe, it's safety, right? Like it's not number one, it's not a premium position. Number two, based on where the Titans are right now, it's not really a position of need. Not saying they couldn't use somebody else there because, frankly, last season was a little concerning on the Imani Hooker front. But you've at least got Hooker. You got Woods in the fold. You got Winston. So, they have safeties. So, looking around the rest of their roster right now, it's not a position of need. But Caleb Downs, I'm pretty convinced, after having watched him in college football, is going to be an elite safety in the National Football League. And I don't think Titans fans would respond well if they took him based on everything I just said. But I feel the absolute best about him being a great player in the NFL out of everyone in the draft.
That's a strong statement. But I can see it. I can see it. And yeah, I'm so, like a safety like that can make such a difference. It bothers me when we get into like what's premium positions, and that's like the positions that you really pay the money to.
Yeah.
Like I understand it. You have to have edge players. You have to block them. You have to have corners. You have to have receivers and quarterbacks. Basically those are your premium positions. Those guys get the most money. Just look at what safety has, like Baltimore Ravens. Kyle Hamilton. You take him on or off that defense, it's like night and day. It really is. One guy, one safety, because he's just involved in everything, and he's a half step ahead. Like Kevin Byard was a huge difference-making player here, but like Caleb Downs projects as a significantly better player than that.
Yeah,
for example.
Exactly.
So honestly, I wouldn't hate it. It would be a bit shocking.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I am like, is he going to be, because of the position that he plays? Like, I wouldn't be stunned if he's available at number 4, right?
I wouldn't either. I also won't be stunned if he's not available much longer.
Yeah.
He will go higher than people think. I believe that. I have taken part in an athletic mock draft that we can talk about tomorrow.
Looking forward to that.
But look, this is where, and I know some of the reaction will be like, oh my God, we need a receiver. Oh my God, we need an edge. And this is where I get into, man, if you got one person in this draft that you think is this is going to be a great player, you're going to have to address that position too. You're going to have to address so many things if you're where the Titans are. So I just don't worry about this particular year. This is the most glaring need, so this is who we must take. That's how you stay bad, to me. So I think you're kind of, in a way, you're basically like agreeing with my take in a roundabout way. So thank you.
Well, I did say to start the conversation that I'm not advocating that the Titans do this, because to be clear, my selection is still David Bailey. That's where I'm going. Although, this is what happens this time of year. You start to read up on all these people and get everybody's thoughts on everything. People love Carnell Tate. Like people just love Carnell Tate. So
sure.
The more, I watched him. I think he's a really good player. I think everything we've discussed on the Tate front still is kind of in the back of my mind a little bit of, okay, well, how good is he actually with Jeremiah Smith and all this other stuff out there? People love Carnell Tate. So I'm starting to talk myself into more and more the idea of potentially going that route at number 4. But yeah, to be clear, David Bailey's still my guy at number 4.
Well, same with me. And people love Carnell Tate, but then also you can get into, the nitpicking of David Bailey.
Sure.
And an obvious one is that, he's not a great run stopper. Dane Brugler in his top 100, he's got him 6 and said, there's a clear upgrade for him last year in that area. Still not where he needs to be. I do like, though, that you saw progress. I mean, I still, watching Texas Tech, I saw him made some beastly plays in the run game too, but some people would look at him like, is he too much of a pure speed pass rusher? And then I'm like, well, in this defense, this wide 9, it seems like he's exactly what you want. So I'm there. But yeah, look, there are at 4. There's going to be somebody that they don't pick that's probably going to go later. That's going to be a great player and potentially better than the player they take. I mean, there are some tough choices there.
I mean,
Good choices.
It is amazing. Like you look at Brugler's top 10, for instance, he's got Arvell Reese at 1, and this is not like mock draft. It's just ranking the players. He's got Reese at 1, Downs at 4, Sonny Styles at 5, and Tate at 10. It's like, okay, so you got all these Ohio State guys in the top 10. How did they not win the championship? And they just got ragdolled by Indiana out there? Interesting.
I know. It is interesting, isn't it? Wait, who beat him in the playoff?
It was Miami in the playoff.
Right. Miami beat him in the playoff, yeah, which was a hell of a performance. Yeah, that was just an all-time, like, rising up with a great performance by Miami. But, yeah, and that's the thing. We were going to some people wanted to give their quarterback the Heisman. Yeah, he's good, but it's like if you had – to me, probably like Will Howard play last year with this team, you probably do win it all.
Yeah.
Not to blame him, but I'm just saying. I mean, Styles is like a guy nobody talks about, and I think he's like a lock for the top 10.
Yeah. And it's
pretty ridiculous.
But he's, why nobody talks about him? It's the position, right? That's why. Like, that's going to be really interesting here. By the way, I was looking to see, we didn't talk about this last week, like where Brugler had the next quarterback beyond Mendoza, because I think he's got Mendoza at number 2 on his board in terms of players. Ty Simpson, 34th on this list for Brugler. So interested to see where he goes, because I still tell you, I would not be surprised if the Jets are like, yeah, we'll just go ahead and take Ty Simpson at number 2. Thank you.
I am too. Again, we can talk some, it's interesting. This has happened before too, but like, I feel like when people who aren't GMs, who aren't under the gun, do these things, they sometimes make more reasonable decisions. So, some people will expect Ty Simpson to go late or not all in the first round, but I'm with you. I just think it's just hard for me to buy because he's talented. He's talented enough to be a first round grade. He's going to do awesome in the interviews, and the back that's the question. If people are happy with his medical and it's like, okay, the back's going to be fine, then I would bet right now first round pick.
So we will get more into this either later in the week or next week when your favorite event of the year begins, when the NFL Combine is opening up. So looking forward to that.
I love that year when I'm not there.
You want to talk about something that Josh Heupel could really use? Chris Brazzell. Like, Chris Brazzell needs to be good in the NFL. Brugler's got him at 46th on his player board. Everybody, I think the measurables for him are going to be, you're talking 6'5", 200. I think he's probably going to run well. Like, and I've seen some discussion on him of, like, everybody looks at Tennessee wide receivers. It's like, well, Hyatt really hasn't worked out in the NFL. Tillman's been okay, but he's hurt all the time. Like, they've not had that receiver under Heupel. Thornton just went to the Raiders, so we'll see. They need, like, Heupel could really use Brazzell getting into the league and being a good player.
Yeah, some of the discussion around him is dumb too. Like, there's people talking about his film and some of his, like, not running hard. It's like that's what they're taught to do when it's not their side. There are plays where it's the other side and it's like save your energy because we're lining right up and then you're running hard.
Right.
Yeah. So people need to figure that out in the NFL.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. The United States taking on Sweden today in the quarterfinals of the Olympics. How big is this game? And if USA-Canada doesn't happen in the gold medal game, What's the disappointment level? We'll get into all that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com for more information. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us later in the program. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. Got the NFL Combine coming up next week, free agency, really not that far away, right around the corner. So a lot of things to get into with Kuharsky a little bit later in the show. Looking forward to that. Joe, I am fired up, man. I've got my USA hockey jersey on today.
Yeah.
I am like legitimately nervous, excited, fired up for USA and Sweden coming up this afternoon. I think 2:10 local time is when it starts later this afternoon. And it's quarterfinals, so we've reached the stage of the Olympics where they've gotten through pool play, and now it's win or go home. So it is exactly kind of what the tournament is designed for, and when the fun begins, for lack of a better phrase. And I just think it's going to be a great game. Like, I think USA and Sweden is going to be a really good game later today. So I'm excited for it. I think it also, like, if you're the U.S., you get the number 2 seed through pool play. Canada's at number 1. Everybody's looking ahead to USA, Canada for the gold medal matchup. I think it would be incredibly disappointing for that not to happen. And we'll get into that here in just a second. But I still think you can make the argument that Finland's the number 3 team in the world. You can make the argument. I know that Finland just beat Sweden. If they played 10 times, I think it'd be pretty close. I mean, it may be 5-5 between Sweden and Finland. So I think personally, Sweden is the 3rd best team in the world. I think you can make the argument USA is number 2, Canada's number 1. So that's your quarterfinal matchup today if you're the United States. So it's not great luck there, right? Like, Sweden dropped their game to Finland. Their coach was screwing around with the lineup earlier in the tournament, and it now seems like they've settled in a little bit here. I am legitimately excited for this. The numbers would suggest, like, NBC has come out with ratings to this point. It's going well for USA hockey and people watching, and that's with really not great matchups so far. So I would expect today's game to do pretty well. I think certainly if they get to a gold medal game against Canada, even though that's going to be at 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday coming up, I would imagine that's still going to do pretty well from a numbers standpoint. But this is a huge one today for Team USA against Sweden. Going to be very interested to see how this goes.
So does the Swedish coach, someone asked this earlier, and I gotta say it's worth asking. Does the Swedish coach, if they win or push for a win, have a really good game today, is he, because of everybody getting to this round, is he just playing chess, everybody else playing checkers, resting, barely playing Philip Forsberg early?
I mean, maybe, but I mean, it's not like, their reward for doing this to this point is you get to play the United States today. So right. On the second half of a back-to-back, by the way, they played yesterday. So it's on, USA should win this game, right? It's not like this is some David versus Goliath matchup. It's not like Sweden can't beat the US. They can. Like, Sweden, especially in a one-game setting, they can absolutely beat the US. But the US should win this game. Like, they've got the goaltending edge. I think they've got the edge at center ice. They've got the edge on defense. Like, they should win the game. But it is, you look at it and you're like, oh, well, there are very few teams in this tournament that have rosters completely comprised of NHL players. Obviously, Canada does. The USA does. Well, so does Sweden, right? So that's going to be.
They got dudes.
They got dudes. William Nylander's good. Joel Eriksson Ek's good. Philip Forsberg's pretty good. Victor Hedman on the back end's pretty good. So this is going to be. I'm interested to see, like, matchup wise, what the U.S. does today. I mean, the biggest strength of the U.S. is a couple. Like, their defense is just absurd. I mean, their defensemen that they have. When you're talking Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski and Jake Slavin and how good he is on the defensive side of things, like, they're just loaded. Charlie McAvoy, like, they're loaded on defense. I think when Hellebuck is on, he's the best goalie in the world. So they, like, that part of it strongly favors the U.S. And frankly, like, Austin Matthews has looked pretty good so far. Jack Eichel's looked pretty good. So center, they've got the edge over Sweden. So again, they should win this game, but you're talking about a one-game setting in an Olympic stage. Going to be very interested to see how that part of it goes. A lot of pressure on U.S. in this game.
You're so excited you've broken your mic stand.
Yeah, well, at least it didn't fall off. It just fell down that time. I can handle that. Just don't fall off.
No, it's there's a lot of pressure, man. There's a lot of pressure. It just, like if and it's not the biggest upset in the world, but if by some chance Sweden finds a way and the pressure's too big on the United States and, you get a little puck luck or whatever, it's just such a downer to think about them not playing Canada one time. I don't know how to. Again, everybody wants it set up so that they play in the gold medal game. Everybody, right? I mean, that's what you want. But you also really just want to see those two collections of players playing against each other. It still would have been an incredible game, high stakes game in the preliminary round. It would have been amazing. Everybody would have watched it. So it's for the sake of this tournament, the United States needs to win this game today.
Yeah, well, first off, if you lose today, you're talking about you're not even medaling at the Olympics, which would just be, with this group, I mean, that would be a disaster. I mean, it really would.
And by the way, and flip it around, because we talked about the Swedish coach, also pretty bad for them. They should be Sweden or Finland at the bronze, right? Should be one of them.
It sure, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stakes to it from that standpoint. But I do think, like I said, I'm interested to hear hockey fans around here, because this is the interest. One of the things I think was really cool about Four Nations last year that everybody gravitated towards was it happened quick, right? It was basically, it was a week, wasn't it? Where you got all of it in there, and you had the first matchup between the U.S. and Canada, and they started fighting each other, and everybody got locked in. And then you had the gold or whatever it was, the championship
game. Yeah.
At the end of it. And by the time the championship game came around, you were still so fresh from that first matchup that everybody was just over the. I mean, it was the lead story on ESPN. People were excited about it, and the ratings were great, and all those things. Olympic hockey at this point has been going on for a week, and it feels like it's kind of starting today, right?
Yeah.
The U.S.
There's been a lot of lopsided games.
Has basically played with their food the first three games. I do think the last game against Germany, they got kind of emotionally invested, and a lot of that is because Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk got them going a little bit. They clearly Matthew Tkachuk and Leon Draisaitl don't like each other, so there's I think some today. I heard Elliot Friedman talking about this on the 32 Thoughts podcast. It's hard to really know about the U.S. to this point because they've not really been challenged. Today they're gonna be, and the investment level emotionally. But I say all that from the fan base. I think it's been harder to get into it to this point because the games haven't really mattered yet. Today's game matters. I'd be interested to know if you're a hockey fan out there, or even if you're not, you're just a casual Olympic fan, how much are you waiting for this game today? And ultimately, if you don't get USA Canada, I think that's going to be really disappointing. If you do, if they get through this and that's the matchup in the gold medal game, I think you're going to see an incredible buzz for that. 2010 you did. I think it'll be even bigger this time.
So I'm trying to, where was 2010?
Vancouver.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Cause it was a midday.
Yeah,
man, it's too bad that on Sunday they couldn't think. I understand everything around the Olympics doesn't have to revolve around American television, but even a 10 a.m. game, a 10 a.m. start Sunday, that would be, that's a fine, you can do that, that works there. And then you'd be able to have an audience live that reasonably could give you a big number.
Well, that's the day. That's the closing ceremony day. It's over that day. So I'm guessing that, the closing ceremonies I think are at 8:30 that night, local Italian time. So 7 a.m. They're 7 hours ahead of us. So it's 2:30 over there.
So you can have
push it back a little later.
Have the game at 5. Right. It would have been nice. But hey, if the game happens, I'm not going to complain. I guess if Sweden does pull it off today, then at least people around here can just latch onto Forsberg, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. A couple of your thoughts to get to on the USA and Sweden coming up. Paul Kuharsky will be with us a little bit later in the program as well. How disappointing will it be if USA Canada doesn't happen? how invested, how all in will you be if it does coming up this weekend in the gold medal game? Take all your thoughts on that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Tonight, Vanderbilt men's basketball takes on Missouri with an 8 o'clock tip-off. Pregame show starting at 7:30 on 102.5 The Game. Coverage presented by Gary Force Acura. Also, make sure you check out some Vanderbilt baseball. They're taking on Eastern Michigan at Hawkins Field at 4:30. Gets all the action on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. Coverage presented by Gary Force Acura. USA Hockey in action later today against Philip Forsberg in Sweden. So, I mean, I guess there could be some people out there just specifically rooting for Forsberg. I mean, that's fine. You can do whatever you want, but it is America versus Philip Forsberg today.
Is there a Nashville Predators fan, an American, who is rooting for Forsberg today? Let us know. Let us know on the
please hit
text
us
line,
up
driven
on
by
the text
WilsonCountyHunter.com.
We will
Don't call. You'll get screamed at.
publicly
You
shame
let us
you.
know on the text line.
That's right. One texter says, I'll be insanely disappointed if U.S. versus Canada doesn't happen. The president of my company is a huge hockey guy from Canada, and I've talked so much trash, even though I know the U.S. will probably lose. Get the preemptive trash talk. I like that.
What is that? So
To your
let's
boss. That's bold.
pretty
right
bold.
there.
so let's yeah. So let's the difference in quality between Team USA and Sweden compared to the difference in quality between Canada and Team USA.
I mean, look, I would say this. If Canada is firing on all cylinders, right? Like if they are at their absolute peak, I don't think there's anything anybody can do.
It's a ridiculous.
Yeah.
The forwards are ridiculous.
I don't think there's much you can do with that. Now, I will say the biggest weakness, except apparently when he plays for Team Canada on the Canadian rosters, are goaltending. Like their goaltending on paper is not good. Bennington apparently just plays well every time he gets into a high pressure situation. So there's that. Like, again, I said this. If the USA gets into the gold medal game and they beat Canada, it's not miracle on ice stuff. Like,
No.
they're
God.
pretty. I'm not going to say they're evenly matched, because when you have Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon and Crosby and all the guys that Canada, like Cale Makar, like all they've got, Canada is better. But I do think the gap it's as close as I can ever remember it. I'll put it that way. I think there's a bigger gap right now, and I think it has more to do with how the teams are structured. Like, I do think there's a bigger gap between the USA and Sweden than there is Canada and the USA. And I think a lot of that's just because, like, if you look at the on-paper matchup, USA is better at center, and it's not particularly close. Like, their center ice is better. USA is better on D than Sweden is. It's not particularly close. USA has the best defensive core in the whole tournament. And I know, Canada probably has the best individual defenseman in Cale Makar, but Quinn Hughes is right there with Cale Makar. And like the D core for the United States is really good. And then USA, I think, definitely has the best goaltending in the tournament.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that's the big thing. Like Hellebuck, I mean,
he's got to be great.
Yeah. He's had his own struggles in big pressure moments. Yep. So, I mean, this is a big deal for him. But yeah, but Sweden, so bigger gap, but also Sweden, not miracle on ice either.
No. Like if Sweden beat the U.S. today, I wouldn't be shocked by it. Now, I'd be very disappointed, but I wouldn't be shocked by it. It's not like they can't go out there and win. One texter says, let me pull it back up, says, huge disappointment, huge loss for Olympic hockey if USA Canada doesn't happen. Would you consider the Four Nations style tournament a better option for best on best play instead of the Olympics? It's different. Like, you just get right to it in the Four Nations. That's the difference, right? Like, you just go right at it. In the Olympics, there's kind of a build up to it. Now, I'll also say this, because I think we heard this, Joe, in like the immediate aftermath of the Four Nations tournament last year. It's like, well, they should do that every year. No, they shouldn't. Like, I think part of the allure of last year in the Four Nations was it was the first time we'd seen best on best hockey in a while. And I think if you did it every year, like, that would wear off. Like, the interest level in that I would propose doing it this way. I would do Olympics every 4 years. I would do Four Nations every 4 years.
And they have every 2 years.
Where that's basically every 2 years in between. Yep. That's exactly what I would do. I don't know what their plan is there, but that's how I would handle it. Is I would do Four Nations every 4 years. And it doesn't necessarily have to I would always have USA and Canada in it. Like, who knows with world events, like if Russia is ever going to be involved again. But
right.
I mean, that's the other thing about the Olympics.
Yeah. Like, it sucks.
Like, they're not playing, and they could win the gold medal. Like, they probably wouldn't. Like, they wouldn't be the favorite, but they're absolutely as good as Sweden is.
Yeah. Think about how great this tournament could be if we had them.
Yeah. So, like, they're just two very different tournaments, I guess is how I would describe it.
Yeah.
In terms of the style in which it goes.
I like that idea. It's like, I mean, with soccer, it's like you have basically Olympics every 2 years and you have World Cup every 2, they're both every 4, but you rotate every 2 years.
One texter says, my sister is literally just pulling for the Preds players. and doesn't care what country it is. She's been uninvited to the 4th of July cookout.
So every country except
United
States. Yay. Yay, everyone but us.
We're not touching the U.S. or Canada, but everybody else have a good time today.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Well, and it's okay to pull
That's fine. If you pull for Preds players, that's fine.
If they're if Sweden's going to score today, why not? Why not let it be Philip Forsberg?
Sure. Jared on the YouTube chat says, "I'm all in if we win. I never cared if we lose."
There you go. There you go.
It could be a good way to approach it.
I mean, that's kind of that's the thing about the Olympics and stuff like this, right? It's quick, happens fast.
It does.
It's not like you're agonizing through an entire season with your team. So, you can pretend it didn't happen.
I just think if you're like, we all want to see, whether you're watching football, you're watching basketball, hockey, whatever it is, you want to see the absolute peak of the sport, right? The top of the game. That's why, first off, the 2010, when you go back to USA, Canada, and the gold medal game, number one, it was a great game. And the level of hockey played in that game, pretty darn high. I also think it probably added to it that it was in Canada. So, you're the U.S. on the road in Canada in a gold medal game. There's just a lot of intensity to it. But, I think, I've said this before, I think the NHL, from just quality of play on the ice right now, is in the best spot it's ever been in. I think the hockey is really, really good. And because of that, I want to see the absolute best go at it. And I think, and I don't want to overhype it either, because there is a chance that, Sunday rolls around, the gold medal game, and Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon are on a line together right now, by the way. There may not be anything you could do with them, right?
Well, especially with this ice. I mean, that's the thing too, right?
That's the other thing. But I don't want to overhype it, but I also think that there's a chance that USA and Canada in the gold medal game on Sunday may be the greatest game ever played. I'm not exaggerating. I think it could be the highest level of hockey any of us have ever seen. And I want that. I want as much of that as I can get.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Everyone should. And again, I'm for us, I don't know about you, but on the weekends, it's 7 a.m. is ooh, wow. Slept in, refreshing.
Woo!
But it just stinks that there's going to be some people who don't watch it live. Wake up early, guys. Don't go out late Saturday night.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm also counting on that game happening. We don't know that it is for sure.
Well,
it's a huge downer if it doesn't.
It's a huge downer if it doesn't. So I think if it does, I know the NFL Combine's coming up next week, but there's not a whole lot going on this weekend in the world of sports. I think if that game happens, it will far away be the number one story in sports, which, again, when you're talking about hockey, how often does that happen?
Yeah.
Not very often. Right?
For sure. Yeah. And so moving forward, and of course, we're going to have all these questions. We're going to have all the questions about, how much backlash you're going to be with a Fiala injury and stuff like that. But they also they need to fix this format, right? I know Myrtle wrote something about how to fix it, but it's the way that this is the first year that obviously they've done it like this, right? The first year that everybody gets to continue.
Yeah,
to play.
I don't like that.
There's got to be, again, it's just how can you make it so they play? I don't know. I guess if they play Sunday and we have that game you're talking about, then do you look back and say, well, I'm glad that there wasn't a game before this, because it built up to this.
Maybe,
probably, but again, you're still risking that never happening,
right?
And but the bottom line is, whenever in this tournament that game happens, it's going to be incredible.
People have been looking forward to this game between the U.S. and Canada since the moment that Four Nations tournament ended last year. And if you get to the Olympics and it just doesn't happen, that's a massive letdown, right?
Yeah.
In some ways, and it shouldn't feel this way, but in some ways, it's going to feel like everybody just wasted our time in this tournament, right? That's what it'll feel like to me. I'm okay.
Yeah, because then, if it gets to that, it's probably because the U.S. loses. So then Canada will win the gold medal game 7-2.
Right. It's oh, great. Yeah.
Can't happen.
615
fix the tournament.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. Pretty wild situation in the world of college basketball last night that we'll get into coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Preds fans, Smashville Live, presented by Gary Force Acura, returns tonight at 6 o'clock on 102.5 The Game, live from Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Barry Trotz, the special guest tonight. That's tonight at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, and only on 102.5 The Game. We welcome in Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com to the program. PK, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I would love to meet this woman who is rooting for international predators over her country.
Be careful with international predators.
Call
International Nashville Predators.
International Preds.
Yeah.
Off to a blazing start.
Clip that.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
That's
I mean, it
true.
wasn't inaccurate.
It's
They
true.
chose the name.
It's true.
Yeah. It's a web of
It's a
web of
Saturday Night Live earlier
hockey
this year.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've long said that people are not good at picking who to root for, generally speaking. And that is the supreme example of how I should be the czar of this in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. You should be the czar of a lot of things,
You should.
but then just keep it to yourself.
You're not really understanding the czar.
Sword.
Just be a
A
czar.
silent czar. That would be my biography.
No.
That would be my biography.
Just
Silent czar.
just in your head, boss everybody around, Be the master of your own domain.
What a terrific concept.
I mean,
Maybe
that's
I'd let
actually-
you write that biography.
That's actually a great name, like the Silent Czar. That kind of sounds like some big Spielberg
very
movie
bu-
or something.
very
Yeah.
benevolent.
or like
Yeah.
or a pro wrestler.
As you know, I'd be very benevolent.
A pro
Yeah.
wrestler who never
In that
speaks.
job.
We got a lot of stuff to get into with PK. Joe, I do want to get this this story from last night in college basketball. Your thoughts on that? PK's thoughts on that. So I'll let you set up what we're about to hear from Mick Cronin.
Well, the game's on. In fact, this actually times out very well. Here you go. No, this is not the play. So yes, Michigan State, UCLA played in East Lansing. Young Rexrode was there. I'm sure he was behaving himself very well. So here's the play. It's a little bit rough, a little bit.
Seen a lot worse.
Yeah, but anyway, watch the UCLA coach. He ejects his own player. He ejected. He said, "Get off the floor.
Threw him out
Get
of
out of
the
here.
game."
You are thrown out of the game for this play." He and Izzo are good buddies. And then after the game, so I guess I should also set this up. Xavier Booker played for Michigan State last year. Didn't work out. He's at UCLA this year. He's kind of a disappointing, like 5-star. But anyway, it was all like,
This is a going to the basket and the guy gets harassed.
but it wasn't him. But anyway, Izzo told all the students, like, let's all be nice to Xavier. It didn't work out here, but I love Xavier, and his parents visited me, blah, blah. So, but then late in the game, some of the students were like, we want Booker because they want him on the floor. So anyway, so that's the context. And then Cronin is asked after the game about the student section.
What was your thoughts on the student section chanting Booker's name?
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of the?
You really think I care about the other
No,
team's
I don't.
student
I don't
section?
think you care about the
Are
other.
you raising your voice at me?
No, I'm.
There you are. There you are. Come on, dude.
I'm not raising.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
Sensitive.
There's cameras here,
Are
dude.
you raising your voice?
He didn't raise his voice, did he? And even
Not
if
really.
he did,
He's like,
like,
"Yeah."
what are you, the almighty?
Yeah, I know. I wish the guy said, yeah, I am raising my voice at you.
Because you
Dude.
I'm pressing you for an answer to a question.
Also, the cameras are on you right now, too.
Yeah.
You're the one who's supposed to be, we're asking you questions.
I am the non-silent czar. I can raise my voice whenever I want.
I would have said that. I might have raised it a little.
Yeah, I might have gone up an octave or two.
Yeah, I think it was warranted that I did raise my voice. I mean, Mick Cronin. Now, by the way, this is an interesting context because, the Kansas State coach just got fired for cause for ripping his players.
This
after
after
a game.
you wrote your column about people coaches ripping players?
That he
Did
got
you-
fired.
Yeah.
Yes.
You helped him get fired.
It's funny you say
Good
that.
for you, finally getting the Rexrode finally gets something done.
No, it is funny you say that because in the K-State statement, they're like, this was widespread in media and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah. People are going to talk about your press conference. Do you think that's worth firing a guy for cause? But, I mean, if you're going to fire coaches for cause for press conferences, how many times has Mick Cronin fired this year?
My goodness.
Mick Cronin's on a run,
A
man.
lot of coaches are fired a lot of times. That was a good column. The Athletic finally put something of yours in position where I saw it.
Oh, good. That's great. Thanks.
Congratulations.
You're going to be used
Appreciate
in the case, in like the settlement case, too, I think. Your
You're
article's
going to be
come up.
deposed.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Does that come with like a per diem?
No, you better lawyer up. Is what it means.
C in Franklin says,
Bart Durham
Ku-
on line 1.
kudos to you. Asking the worst question I've ever heard has got to be used in the rant mashup clip at some point.
This guy also hasn't heard a wide array of questions. Fair.
Oh, yeah. There have been a lot of questions worse
I
than
mean,
that one.
that's not anywhere in the ballpark.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, Mick Cronin, let's go through your entire history. You know, coaching Cincinnati for 10 years, now coaching UCLA for almost 10 years. Like, really? That's the worst question? Are you sure?
I would say I might have raised my voice a little, and you're really employing recency bias.
He seems to be a little unpleasant, that Mick Cronin there.
Well, it's interesting because, he goes off like that, but then also sometimes he's like, I've been at press stuff with him. Like, in fact, last year he was in Lexington and he was awesome.
Yeah,
He was
I have
super
recollections of him being very good.
Yeah, like he's really good sometimes when he goes in depth on stuff. He doesn't mince words. He's not a BSer at all. But yeah, then it's just like in those moments, you know, coaches are most after games, but it's like in those moments, some of the snapbacks are like, what? There's cameras here? No kidding.
Your thing where they said that these guys need to take so much time to settle down and have somebody talk sense to them that
Yes.
I mean, we've lost this professional ability to compose yourself and go sit down for 10 minutes and have a conversation and then return steamed to your steamed thing. I mean, isn't that a part of the job?
Well, that was actually I talked to Tom Crean. Crean. And so here's the thing. Tom Crean famously, and I've been a part of this too, when he was at Indiana, like he would make you wait a half hour. I mean, it was bad. And it's like, which to me is excessive, but he was like, I was talking, like, talk me through. Okay. What, you know, here's, you know, let's talk stuff through. So I don't go in there and start just, I mean, I'm with you. It's like, cool down a little bit. Fine. You know, maybe gather your thoughts a little bit. Fine. That was excessive.
I think that's a part of the job. Like, gather yourself, go in there, handle it. Then you go back to being pissed off.
Yeah.
Is Cronin going to get fired?
Well,
how long has he been at UCLA now?
So that was the summer of 19 when they went after Rick Barnes
It's
first.
his 7th year.
And they settled for Mick Cronin after they all thought they had Rick Barnes hired.
Yep.
And it hasn't been, they got to one Final Four. They got to a Final Four. So
that's his 2nd year.
That
was
gives them
in 2021.
21.
Yeah.
So that gives them some, he gives them some equity, but that's been a while. And yeah, it's kind of disappointing. I mean, you look at their roster and stuff and who, like, they went and got Donovan Dent from New Mexico, really talented player. I have no doubt one of the highest priced players in the portal, and it's not going well. Well, Kansas State has spent and they're not winning. And this is, these are examples of, you can go out there and spend a ton and not win. Kentucky is the obvious example this year. So I don't know that he's going to get fired, but I would say he's headed toward a hot seat next year.
Not fired, but maybe slightly reprimanded.
Kevin
By the czar
on the text line says, if we're firing coaches because of what they say, Dan Hurley should have been fired eons ago.
Oh, God. Exactly. But if you win enough, you can do whatever the hell you want, right? Dan Hurley's out there just ripping his fans.
These guys kind of suck.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, and I said this last week, but it just seems like we're having more meltdowns from college coaches.
Yes.
College coaches melting down seems to just be, and again, I think it is part of like the way the job is. I have no idea what my team will be next year. I have a great team this year, but next year my team might suck.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Paul Kuharsky with us for the remainder of the program. We'll take your questions for the Titans for PK as well. 615-737-1025. The Rex Rant coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Gout is mental. No, it is not mental.
This is on camera. They can hear you.
I have a good relationship with Amy Adams Strunk, so I do not think it's my camera.
Let's swap our sweat now.
Yeah, I'm a big swinger.
The contact buzz I got from all the weed in the air as I was out there covering it. I smoke weed constantly.
God bless America.
It is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode.
What we got here?
Got a little Big and Rich.
Woo!
Bringing us back up.
I've stopped talking about it a lot, but that guy remains the biggest ass in town.
Are you sure? Kid Rock lives here, dude.
I was told to, I don't know if I've ever revealed this. My old home on the airways never really told me what to talk about, but they did at one point tell me to stop talking about John Rich.
Oh, yeah? Why were you talking about him so much?
Because he built a cement tower in my backyard.
That's a good reason. Why?
Oh, man.
Because he decided he was going to change the Love Circle landscape and that the lovely bungalows that were there were insufficient and we needed a 6-story cement tower that by his definition was 3 stories.
So then you started ripping him on the radio, and then what, he called in? Is that how it went?
Well, I challenged him in the proper channels, and they said, well, he's been working for several years to make this happen, to get it into codes. And I said, okay, well, now I'll take my several years to work against it. He was clearly greasing palms.
There you go.
He's a jackass.
Long story history between John Rich.
He's faded into
Paul
oblivion
Kuharsky.
now. What does he play? Like Des Moines?
Shout out to the great people of Des Moines.
Yeah, we got to rip Des Moines. Why does Des Moines get a shot like that? That's a solid place.
I love it. I've never been.
That's
That's why.
I can't
'cause I've
wait.
Never been.
That concert that Springsteen throws at some point where Big and Rich is opening for him. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait for
That'd
it.
be quite a pairing.
Springsteen doesn't have.
Get Creed in there.
Oh, sure.
What
Yeah.
a combo.
Well, I do not
Probably
have
not.
I do not have a rant about John Rich. I will. We can. Again, I always say we'll do this quickly, and we can move on to something else. But I just have to follow up with the gym stuff because I swear it was like the same day. Maybe it was the next day. After I complained about the last thing at the gym, I got a new one for you.
And just for a reference, the last thing at the gym was
He's
a
talking
guy
about a
standing over the top
gymnasium.
of you.
Yeah, the dude's standing, staring at me, waiting for me to get off the machine. Okay, so I was.
as an admirer. That's a big fan.
Yeah, that's true.
You
It's
should
probably
give him like a signed 8x10 gloss.
checking out my guns. So
Checking out your gout.
you got to do 10 curls with the gout. All right. So I'm in the opposite. I'm in the other situation this time. I'm waiting on a machine, waiting on the lat pull down. Okay. The lat pull down. Dude, young guy sitting there, his ponytail. Not judging, but I'm just,
Sounded judging.
I'm just giving you, the situation. And he's doing the lat pull down. Okay. And he gives up from the lat pull down. But he's got his drink and his phone that are like on the thing, and he just leaves them there and he walks away. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And he goes to another machine. He's working 2 machines at once.
That's
I mean,
a violation.
that's absolutely absurd. And just like last time when I said, I probably should have like said something to the dude, maybe, like step off, man. I mean, I probably should have gone and told on this guy. But I didn't. I glared at him. Now I didn't glare at him from up close, but I glared at him from several feet away. And it's just like, and then he finally does. He goes this station, back to this station, back to this. I'm like, dude, there's like 40 people in the gym right now. Like, do you not understand? You cannot do this. This is not your home gym where you just leave stuff. Like, this is my workout. You guys all go about your business. This is my personal workout. I'm just going to take my time. He finally gets the thing, and I go as fast as I can to the machine just to like, and I did give him a nasty look. I want you to know. I know.
That's good.
I know. I gave him a nasty look.
Attaboy.
But like, I mean, how does this happen? How do you go to a gym and think that you can work two stations at once and bounce back between them unless there's like 3 people in the total gym?
I'll tell you how.
Happens very easily. Society is falling apart.
I'll tell you how. You let him do it. That's how.
Yeah, you gotta
step in, take that
up.
phone, and just throw it over to the side.
I mean, why are you building these muscles if not to stand up for yourself?
Yeah, come
in
on.
a situation just like this.
This is death avoidance. This is old man workout death avoidance. Okay.
How young was this?
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, he's probably like 25 or something. And it's like, dude,
was he muscled?
I mean, I probably could have taken him. But I was like, I'll save this for the rant then. Instead of actually doing something about it and helping everybody, I'll just rant about it anonymously, and then
Is this a young,
that'll help.
That's a bold move.
Is this a YMCA, Jim?
It's a rec center in my lovely town of Nolensville.
Is it?
It's not a Y.
Yeah. If I take Sunset Straight, do I run into it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm familiar.
I'm there 6 days a week. Check it out.
It's a very high
tell.
chlorine content in their pool.
It's probably good.
I haven't been in that pool in a long time, actually.
I haven't either because of the very high chlorine content.
Jeff says Joe is the silent czar of the gym.
Yeah, we could use this thing.
I'm looking at you. I'm not happy.
40 people.
Jacob says it's called superset, Joe. Fight him next time. Another text says Joe is such a get off my grass old man.
Wow, but that's ridiculous. That's you guys have to all agree that's ridiculous. Now, look, I should have told on him. I mean, I should have because I'm not starting some fight.
Tell on him.
Why?
Talk to him. You can say, dude, you can't have 2 machines at once with this kind of crowd here. Sorry. You can't go tell on him.
No, I'd rather tell. I'd rather rant anonymously.
I could have told on him.
He was kind of big.
Just because he's big doesn't mean he's impolite. That's presuming characteristics
but
based on appearance.
But how do you even?
We don't do that.
How do you even get to the point where you're like, this will be fine? I'll just keep going here.
I feel like
he's a member of your society, your neighborhood over there.
Maddie says
you were all peaceful.
Wow, you've lost Des Moines and Ponytail dudes. Keep that train rolling this morning. People of Des Moines are out on Robby and Rexrode.
Anyone with a ponytail in Des Moines, please, we don't want to lose you. Okay?
I bet they don't hog 2 machines in Des Moines.
I bet they don't. I bet it's one at a time.
Des Moinesians. Also, there
got
aren't 40 people in the gym in Des Moines.
No.
Maybe right.
Let's head to the phone line. Driven
also,
by
there's
Wilson.
not a gym in Des Moines.
Yes.
Not
Des
one.
Moines is just a big cornfield per Kuharsky.
Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Eli to the program. Eli, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. I have a question for Paul Kuharsky of PaulKuharsky.com.
Thank you.
Paul Kuharsky,
yes.
With the glaring need at a tight end, nobody really talks too much about it, but I was wondering if you think there's a chance that the Titans might reach for Eli Stowers in the draft by chance?
I would prefer that they take care of this in free agency with somebody like Cade Otton. Eli Stowers is going where?
Second round, probably.
Yeah, they can't take a tight end in the second round. I don't think.
Thank you for the question for Paul Kuharsky. Really appreciate it.
I start my podcast off by mentioning my name 3 times. I say I'm Paul Kuharsky of PaulKuharsky.com at the Paul Kuharsky podcast.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good luck start, and I really get my name out.
Yeah.
Well,
you really love seeing your own name.
It's
amazing.
We have heard that. We've been excited about that. We've also heard that used in other situations before too, where he uses the name 3 times. Right, Joe?
Joe has no
I've
idea.
totally flipped him on this.
He's got the most stunned look on his face.
Paul Kuharsky from PaulKuharsky.com. Can you walk us through?
Oh, yeah.
I said it twice. Yeah. See, that's my rhythm of 3.
That was the first question he asked to Sala.
That's
Paul
my rhythm of
Kuharsky,
3.
Paul Kuharsky, PaulKuharsky.com.
I'm Paul Kuharsky. No, I'm Paul Kuharsky. Well, listen, if they're going to privatize those press conferences the way they do in this selfish act where they say only we can broadcast our press conferences, which would have no content except for Jim Wyatt's questions, but for you guys, yet only we may broadcast them. I'll say my name 1,000 times.
I have no problem with
See,
it.
this should have been
I
the
just
rant
enjoyed
all
it.
along. Why haven't we had a rant about that? We haven't really talked about that.
Ridiculous BS.
Why are they doing that?
Because they're I think, I mean, they're looking for any marketing edge they can get, and they want all the traffic they can get. And I've said this before. If the rest of the media in this market had stones, I would have organized that just one day for one of these things, nobody either ask a question or show up. But I know like certain TV people, their producers just wouldn't understand the concept and couldn't put up with it. And no, we absolutely have to have a snippet from the coach on how practice went today. And so we can't do it. But I'd be all for not showing up or going and turning our backs or not asking any questions and setting them into a complete panic to send a message like, hey, you think it's your press conference, but actually it's our press conference.
Another case where the silent czar could be used there. Just another edition of the silent czar.
Did they give you a scone?
A scone?
Yeah, they gave us one yesterday.
No scone?
Apparently,
What?
Titans went
Titans
around
gave us
just
scones.
handing out like random acts of kindness yesterday.
None for you.
I didn't get a scone, but I will say
Kuharsky.com did not get a visit.
I will say this. I don't like scones.
Well, there you go.
Like if you said, hey,
bacon
let's
and
create a
These
really,
were bacon and cheddar scones, dude.
It was delicious.
Let's create a really dry, hard thing that requires a sip of some liquid with every bite. Here it is. It's like a breakfast rock. That's what a scone is to me. But that they're kissing your ass, like it's probably to offset that you can't broadcast press conferences.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I'm fine with it now. Great scone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no scone for me.
One text.
But if you're thinking about giving me anything, I'm more of a muffin guy.
Just let the record show. One texter asking if the caller, Eli, who just called in, was Eli Stowers. Could be. Some self-promotion going on there. Hey, you guys, where do you think I might get drafted? Thank you.
Eli from the West End.
Yeah. We'll have Paul Kuharsky with us for the rest of the program. Take more of your Titans questions. For PK, Robby, and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com is with us here on the program. We'll take your questions for PK on the Titans at 615-737-1025. PK, you had some thoughts you wanted to add on the Caleb Downs discussion that we were having earlier in the show.
Well, I hear the raves about him, and I heard what Joe was saying about, a Kyle Hamilton type and all of that. I can't claim to have watched a ton of Ohio State, but I looked at the numbers. And so between 24 and 25, he played 33% of his time in the box, 21% of his time in the slot, 11% of his time on the edge. So he's only 35% of his time in the deep middle. So look, we get into this thing all the time about the versatile player. And look, I like a versatile defensive back who can do all of those things. But I'm not spending the 4th pick in the draft on a guy, not at a premium position who plays a lot of box safety. Like, I don't find it, you could be the most special box safety in the world, and how much of a difference maker are you compared to an average box safety? If he's a terrific center fielder who's going to change games there,
Well, that's the idea. People aren't right. Excited about him.
But if he's Earl Thomas, which Robert Saleh was in Seattle during some prime Earl Thomas, if you've got that, but then why was he playing in the box so much at Ohio State? Did they have a guy better than him that was floating in midfield? I'm kind of confused about his Ohio State usage.
Well, I think the more important metric would be, how did he play when he played that way? Because look, I don't know. It's a good question, but I think with Ohio State, it's like they're so loaded. Like they were hardly ever worried about anyone when they played. You know what I mean? So I don't like, how many games did they have that were competitive?
Not a ton.
Yeah. And how much time did a quarterback have to hurt them in the area of the field I'm worried about?
Yeah,
so you're projecting him a lot.
So it's hard because you can move them around, do whatever the heck you want with them, blitz them. So they had the very low scoring, tough loss to Indiana in the Big Ten. Like neither offense did anything in that game. And then they shut down. Who else? What else did they encounter last year?
Arch.
Arch scored 7 on them. It's a fair point. Like, is there someone else that they prefer to be like the post safety and is that a commentary on him? But it seems as though the range, the speed, all those things, all the elements are there for a guy who does make a difference downfield.
Yeah. And Brugler, famously in the last 4 days or whatever, I think said something like he had some scout. He said he's the best safety I've scouted since, and some guys said ever. But you have to put into account, like I saw somebody commenting on this, some of those scouts maybe have scouted for 10 years.
Yeah.
Brugler's
he's probably in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
No, he's longer than that. But
he doesn't go back to Ed Reed.
Right.
Doesn't go back to Palomalu.
No.
The only reason you would take this guy is if he's that kind of guy, right? To me.
Yes.
Yeah, has to be that kind of guy. And
some people seem to think he is.
Yeah. I'm curious about that. I'm at the combine. I will seek to learn much more about this. So, what I've gotten from some Ohio State fans is he's great when he's back there. They just didn't play him back there that much. Roughly a third of the time. I think that, to me, you go to a place like Ohio State to get drafted. I'm not saying it hurt his draft stock. I would have rather seen him in college playing a ton of deep safety somewhere.
Yeah. Any of the potential edge guys that we've talked about at the top of the draft, whether it's Reese or David Bailey or, to a different degree because of everything involved with where he's going to play in the NFL, Reuben Bain, any of those 3 guys really stand out to you in terms of who you'd like to see be available for the Titans to take at number 4?
Yeah, I still got a lot of sorting out to do. We've covered this. I wish one of them didn't have, some big question. but with Bain, the short arms are an issue. I mean, if they're an issue for the offensive line to the degree that they are, I don't see how they're not an issue for the guy that's taken on that offensive lineman. Bailey's got amazingly quick first step, but he's going to hurt you in run defense at least early. And Reese, you're already I'm not doing a sunken cost thing here, but Femi Oladeju is already converting and hasn't played a significant amount on the edge or at end. And now you'd have another guy who, hasn't played a ton at that spot. So there's a hole in all three of them. And it's, if I'm a Titans fan, I'm really frustrated by the fact that you're in position to finally go get that player, and there's nobody that no questions asked about at 4. And I think in most years at 4, you could get a guy that's pretty clear, good end/edge without a question as big as any of those 3.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. I just think that, especially like you talk about the position, the 3-4-4-3 thing and all that, just Bailey just seems to me like the exact fit. I'd like to know more about that. Is he a scheme fit? He's a quick burst speed rusher. I mean, according to Brugler, his run D got a lot better this last year. We were talking about it earlier. I mean, I saw him. I thought he looked pretty good setting the edge at times this year when I watched Texas Tech. They were a loaded defense, great linebackers, but he just, to me, there's not no questions, but I still think that's a pretty good prospect at 4.
Yeah, I do too. The thing about him, if you don't trust him to set the edge or to play the run well early, designated pass rushers, people talk about all of that. Like, feels very hard not to play your top guy on first down.
Yeah.
Well, Derrick Henry was MVP candidate who didn't play on third downs a lot,
It's true. But Derrick Henry was on a more, in his prime, was on a more complete team that survived that. Who's playing first down for the Titans? They have to fill in the roster. If you get somebody like Draymond Jones or somebody that's like that, maybe you combine it, but still.
Does Bailey really? I mean, I have my doubts that he's not playable like on first down.
But you would love to have somebody who's definitely playable for all 3 downs. And there's, like you said, maybe this is the least of the questions of the 3 guys and the 3 questions, but it's still a question.
Let's head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Ed in New Jersey. Ed, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, gentlemen. So 2 years ago, I think we were in kind of a similar situation, new coaching staff. We had like the 7th pick overall, and we, before free agency, I think we had a lot of money to spend then too. But my question is, are we in a better roster state now, despite winning 6 games in the past 2 years than we were then? Like, we had a disaster of an offensive line. You still had Derrick Henry, questions of whether we were going to re-sign him or not. Had a promising quarterback in Levis, showed some flashes. But when you look at this overall team now, despite the losing, can we say legitimately that we are in a better state than we were when Callahan started?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Thank you for the call.
I'd have to look at it more closely, but I feel like not. I mean, I don't remember there being any positions on that team where there was nothing like there is right now at corner.
Yeah.
So there's one position that you have to have 3 players at least coming in there, restocking your 2 outside starters and probably nickelback, depending on your faith level in Marcus Harris or your plan for Winston. So it just feels thinner to me, though they've been thin for a long time. So it's a good question. I'd have to go back and look. What's your sense?
Well, real quick. So you've added, I'm just looking at the draft. So you've added since then Latham, Sweat, Gray, Brownlee, James Williams, Marcus Harris, DK, Winston Oladejo, Cam Ward. These are just the drafts those are the two drafts. Those are the ads from the Out of Manor Helm. So I guess I would say you probably have more young talent now because you do have some draft picks who have stuck, but you had some veterans 2 years ago that are no longer here that could play.
Yeah.
Like Roger McCreary.
I think it's pretty
another
close,
corner.
man.
Yeah. Ooh, they don't have
certainly. Well, I guess the point would be
and Henry.
The roster has not improved in that stretch of time anywhere near where it needs to have improved.
Right.
So, I mean, the good news is you got in some ways, a blank canvas here with the amount of money you got and all the holes on your roster that you can start over. So,
and I think that, the big difference is Callahan's plan didn't work.
Yeah.
So will Salah's plan work? I think it'd be very hard for Salah's plan not to work better than Callahan's plan because you got 6 wins in 2 years out of Callahan's plan. I mean, if they get 6 wins in 2 years out of Salah's plan, they are really, really, I don't know what
inept.
the word. Yeah, inept.
The silent czar will not be silent no longer.
615.
The silent czar writes.
That's right. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. More coming up with PK next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Taking your thoughts for PK on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. PK, we had the discussion earlier that has been on social media the last couple of days. The idea of, quote unquote, buying a draft pick from the Miami Dolphins. So basically trading for Tua's contract, getting Miami to send you a draft pick in return for that, and then managing Tua's contract after that as your backup quarterback. Herndon has thrown that idea out there. We discussed it a little bit earlier in the show. I mean, it's at least intriguing depending on what's the pick you would get back for that. But what do you make of the idea of the Titans potentially going after Tua as the backup quarterback and getting Miami to give you a draft pick in order to do it?
Well, I think I look more carefully at the money, right? And people find it complicated. You know, the Dolphins are on the hook for huge money. The Titans would take on, by my calculations, a little over $45 million. So that's his $39 million base salary. That's a little over $6 million in likely to be earned incentives in terms of per game roster bonuses, and a $250,000 workout bonus. Now, they could take that $39 million base salary and immediately restructure it to spread it out over a couple of years. You don't want to do that too much too often, but they could do it to bump it down. You know, you wouldn't want $45 million of cap hit this year out of your $99 million. That's almost half of it. To facilitate bringing in a new backup quarterback, positioning yourself to trade Levis, and buying this draft pick. And then what is the draft pick?
Right.
You know, the Dolphins have 2 third-rounders, I think, 75 and 90. They have 4. So, sorry. They're not giving you 11. They've got 43 in the second, 75, 87, and 90 in the third. I think you could bid for a third-round pick. So are you going to spend what amounts to $45 million for a third-round draft pick? That's intriguing.
You're intrigued even if it's a third.
I think that's the best you could do. You know, as long as you could spread that cap money out, I think it's intriguing. I don't think it'll happen. I think it's a little bit too outside the box for the kind of stay in your lane Titans. It's not kind of Adolfo, not Adolfo, but more Vin Marino, Chad Brinker. But, you know, I wouldn't say 0% chance. But I think Tua can also, you know, other teams could do this that are more quarterback needy. I don't know that anybody's banking on Tua.
That's the thing. No one wants him as their starter, so it's going to have to be a team that wants him as a backup / I guess competitor.
Maybe. Yeah. I think maybe he winds up somewhere where you have an uncertain quarterback future and he's in the mix.
But is there a place that is like that and also has cap room?
Yeah, I haven't looked at all the permutations of that. I would say too many people are into this because it gives the Titans a way of getting rid of Levis. This thing where Levis is a hot potato and you have to get rid of him for the fans. I think we talked about it last week. I just don't understand it. And I'm not sure that Tua's a better, I mean, he's certainly more experienced and he's had some success. He also, you know, is one hit away from a career-ending concussion in a way that Levis is not. So and he's a 1-year solution in this. You have to cut him after the second year based on his cap money after that, unless you extend or renegotiate in a way that he might not be willing to do. So temporary solution, intriguing. But I don't know how realistic it is.
Well, I mean,
and you'd get another pick by trading Levis. People
Right.
seem to think that's a third-round pick. It's no way it's a third round.
Could they get a fifth? They get a fifth for Levis?
Maybe.
I'm thinking 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
Probably have to give up a pick too, right? Like
Swap
Levis
one.
in a 6th.
Levis in a 6th, get a fifth back,
Well,
something
I
like
mean,
that.
That's
Yeah.
not much. A pick swap is not much.
No, but I mean, a fifth is better than a 6.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Per
look
my
at that.
math.
Hey,
Good stuff.
Per
clip,
my math.
clip that.
Thank you.
I mean, like the Jets have a ton of cap room, but they could draft a quarterback. The Steelers have a significant amount of cap room, but what's going to happen with Rodgers there? I mean, the point is there's not an obvious landing spot, I think, for Tua in terms of competing for a starting job. I mean, I don't know who's the Arizona
maybe?
Cardinals quarterback going to be. Are they keeping Kyler?
I don't think so.
I
it's
think
pretty
they're in a
clear that
similar
they're not.
situation with Kyler. I haven't looked at his cap stuff, but I imagine there's some heavy money attached to him too, where they'd be looking to get out from under, to find themselves a new quarterback and to get out from under a contract. I don't think his contract was nearly as bad as Tua's. But that's
he's and I to me, and again, I used to be the biggest Tua homer ever, but Kyler Murray, I think, is a much better possibility as a starting quarterback than Tua is at this point. Isn't
well,
he?
he's not near death. In that regard, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be intrigued to see Kyler Murray in a good situation.
Yeah.
I think there could be something there with Tua. It's like it's just not going the right direction at all.
I think the Kyler dead cap is 54.
Yeah.
Versus 90 something for Tua, right?
I mean, I've heard, a lot of people think they're moving on from Kyler Murray, which I understand. But there is the thought that would it make more sense to just hang on to him for another year? I mean, you got a new coach in there in Mike LaFleur. Would it make sense to hang on to Kyler for another year and then move on after next year where maybe there's a better quarterback class and you're not eating as much dead cap at that point?
Yeah, I hear you, but it's just from the reporting around it, it sounds like one of those situations. Once you know it's over, it's like you just rip the Band-Aid off, and you can go try to. I think they're going to try to go the veteran route. So I don't know. Maybe they would. Maybe they'd be like, hey, maybe Tua would be their answer.
And there was one report that said, among consideration at least, is the Dolphins just taking the bullet, taking $99 million
spreading out
cap hit this year. No, not
just going 1 year.
Taking it in a kind of tankish year, virtually a third of their cap, acknowledging Chris Greer blew this contract, getting it off their books, and knowing they're not going to be great this year, setting themselves up for a draft and doing what they need to do. What a fun time to be a Dolphins fan if they do something like that. Kyler Murray next year, his base is 22.8 this year. So if he was dealt, you'd be starting there, inheriting that. 19.5 next year, but doesn't look guaranteed. So if you were to acquire him, he's not. You're not starting with an outrageous contract. It doesn't seem to me.
How would Cam Ward react to Tua being his backup?
Well, I think he'd be fine with it. I mean, Cam Ward has no concern about anybody crawling up his back.
Right.
So then it's all about the Titans deciding about personality. How would Tua Tagovailoa react to being Cam Ward's backup is the question.
Yeah. Richard on the YouTube chat says the 43rd pick has a pay scale of roughly $9 million. You don't pay $45 million in exchange for an overpaid quarterback and a second-round pick. It's crazy talk. Well, it's less about the money. Like the money is a 1-year thing.
Yes.
What you're dealing with here with Tua.
If you can afford
you're
it,
buying a pick.
You're
Right,
buying a
you're
pick.
buying a pick.
And that pick, you can talk about the salary for the pick. What's the value of getting a really good starter?
Yeah.
You don't care about
You know how many of those
the
you
money
need?
part of it is borderline.
Yeah, why
irrelevant.
don't we
you
give a
don't
crap?
care about the salary of the pick at all. I mean, that's a steal. If you can get a starter for $9 million and have him at rookie scale
That's why they're
prices
valuable.
for 4
because
years.
You can
Yes.
pay that little, and they're good.
Exactly. Like Robbie said, the money that you pay that second round pick is not a part of the equation.
Well, I'm just saying, like even the money for Tua, like yeah, it's a lot of money that they could do. Like you said, they could restructure it. It doesn't have to be $45 million against this year's cap. They could do what they wanted to do with it. But what I'm saying is, like, you're dealing with that for, if you want to, like a year, and then you're moving on after that, and it's not affecting your cap moving forward at that point. You got plenty of cap space right now.
Yeah, I don't think you could do the 45 all this year.
I
mean,
would
that
doubt
takes
it.
up a huge chunk.
I mean, you
of the
technically
money
could.
you're expecting to spend on.
Unless you're striking out left and right, man.
Yeah,
could be.
right.
Which could happen.
It could. 615-737-1025 our phone number. A lot more questions to get to with PK. We'll take more of them on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Paul Kuharsky with us here on the program. PK, a lot of talk early in the week about the logo that's been floated out there from Easton Freeze at A to Z Sports. We've talked with you about the logo and the potential rebranding before all this came out this week, but your thoughts on the reaction you've seen from Titans fans in the aftermath of that this weekend?
Well, I just would tell everybody, the logo seen on the plush football, we don't know about the coloration of that by any means. This is not confirmation that that's the primary logo by any means, but, we have seen it with on Titans House. We have seen it on in some renderings of the stadium. So it seems pretty likely that's going to be a new mark. But we got to use the term new very loosely, because as I wrote this weekend, it came to me over the weekend that I had seen this before. And where I had seen it before was on the lobby floor of the Tennessee Titans headquarters starting in 1999. If you haven't seen this, go to paulkuharsky.com.
Yeah.
I have a story up there. I took a picture of this floor, which I used, to decorate a mailbag or whatever throughout the years. It came to me and I'm like, I'm sure I have a picture of this somewhere. And I thought it would be a struggle to find it. And I went in my system and I went in the photos and I typed floor and boom, there it was. That easy. And I was like, whoa, I'm on to something here. I talked to some old timers and they said it was never considered, it was not an official mark. You have to have things, signed up as an official mark. It was something that they used periodically when they had trouble centering the fireball or, could not use the flames. And so my impression here, which I think is legit, is they didn't go out and search for a new logo or have new designs drawn up. They picked something out of their bank.
Trash bin. They're just like,
I was going to say their bank, but Joe has put it more bluntly.
Is that like the epitome of cheapness?
I mean, it's the
inside.
inside.
We don't need to pay anybody to come up with a logo. We got this thing that used to be on the floor.
They took, the floor. I mean, I walked across this thing on a daily basis for up until 2020 when they revamped the old building. So, I mean, it's just the logo without the fire on it. Now, people have taken this way too far, and they've put it on helmets and in uniforms. And now people are saying, boy, the Titans' new uniforms look great. We have no idea what the Titans' new uniforms are. We have no idea what the coloration of this is going to be.
What do you think they will be, though?
We know they're going light blue heavily. On the plush, it looks very flat and unremarkable. I'm for simplicity, but there's a difference between simple and flat. So I hope there's some texture to it, some dimension to it. Looks to me more like a shoulder patch than a helmet logo. I've seen some renderings by fans out there that make it look fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope it looks fantastic. But, have some sense out there between what we've seen and know is real, which is a couple of, goldish things. There's also you get a guitar pick, a big guitar pick that has this logo embossed on it. Somebody tweeted that to me. It's stamped on the paperwork you get if you're a new season ticket holder. We've seen it at Titan House. We've seen it on the floor of the facility, but we've not seen it in its pure coloration on a helmet. We don't know if the helmet's white. We don't know any of that. They were desperate to get away from white helmets when they redid this thing not that long ago. Now everybody seems desperate for a white helmet. Nobody loved the flaming thumbtack logo. Now everybody's pining for the flaming thumbtack helmet. Oh my God, I can't believe they got rid of this logo that we love. There's just so much emotion in this thing. It's unbelievable.
People are all into it, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is how it happens. I mean, Jimmy Wyatt, who's the most level-headed, when Vandy changed their logo, lost his mind. Dude, the logo is fine. What? By the way, there it is. What's wrong with it?
It's a V.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually better than the former logo. Sorry to say. I don't know if we're going to say that about this, but we're probably going to say, yeah, wow, people made way too big a deal out of it. But, Paul, do you think that this is essentially the Titans. Like next year we watch them play, it's going to be like this is essentially as close to Houston Oilers look as you can get without just wearing your throwback Houston Oilers uniform.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very Oiler-esque. And I'll say
is it just because it's just a good looking uniform, or is there more to it than that?
I think it's a good looking uniform. I think Amy saw the push for didn't the Texans wear something that were those colors? The University Houston
University Houston
wore
did, yes,
some stuff.
yes.
I think she saw the reaction to it. Sold well when they wore the throwbacks here. But look, if you follow this chain, the team got here and people demanded a new name and new uniforms and got them. And then, they wanted away from the white helmet and they got it. And now there's a call for the whole thing. To me, it's representative. I know you hate this, Joe, when I go this direction. It's representative of this team's failure to establish an identity. This team has never really established an identity beyond it can run the football when it's good. It's not sustained an identity long-term for a long time. And the fact that now people are like, well, I don't want to be Houston, but I really like the Houston colors. But I'm addicted to navy blue, which is like the most innocuous color of all time. How could you get rid of that? Like at least keep navy blue as the accents. But those uniforms, those Oilers uniforms are one of the most fantastic things. And there's just so much internal strife here. And this, it's Houston's colors, but we own the colors. Yeah, and this internal strife is just to me representative of the organization.
Yeah, but just conflating that with like football is just dumb.
Well, I think they're on parallel tracks.
Yeah. I mean, they've had good teams. They've had teams that could throw the ball.
Yeah, but they're overall, if you look at 27 years of Tennessee Titans football, it fits.
So essentially, all issues are ownership.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
No scones for you. No scones for you.
We established that a long time ago, no? So you're kissing up to ownership? That's how you're getting
That's
scones?
what I've come up with.
So tell me about this scone delivery. Like, was there a singing?
Yeah, they showed up.
Singing
Preston,
He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
Preston
very nice
came
guy.
here?
Yeah, very nice guy.
I mean, I treat Preston and I are very close. You just met Preston?
You're very close?
Yeah.
But no scones for you. Interesting. Are you close?
Not as close as I thought.
Hey, what do you make of the idea?
I mean, I'll say this. Did Preston get a Christmas present from you?
No.
Aha!
Speaking of being a suck up, wow. That's what you do. You give gifts to your.
He's a young worker trying to fight to make his way.
Yeah.
And he does me a lot of favors during the year. And I thought it'd be nice to give him a little something for Christmas.
Okay, what was the gift? What are the favors?
Well, he prints out some stuff for me on a weekly basis.
Could you make that a really
large
font, please?
Times New Roman, please.
What was the Christmas gift?
I shouldn't have mentioned it at all.
No. It's too late now. What'd you give him for a gift?
Target gift card.
There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of impersonal, man.
Yeah, as compared to what you gave him.
Well, I just met him. He gave me scones. Preston, next time I see you, beers on me. How about that? Beers are better than a Target gift
because
card.
Joe wants to get back on the couch.
We're back.
You have beers,
Preston,
I'll have a Diet Coke.
Preston, you go out with Joe for beers, and then you drive him to the hospital. It's a great deal.
Bring a walking boot, please.
Hey, since they're moving away
Someday
from this,
you could be like me and get gout.
Since they're moving away from Greek mythology, what do you make of the idea that I came up with earlier this week that instead of the Spartan chant for the first down, they just record Amy going first down every time that they pick one up? I think it would do her some goodwill with the fan base.
What about first down?
You'd hear from her all the time.
They're reportedly moving away. You know where you can hear from her all the time? Go to the airport. I mean,
true.
she is at the airport. She is that place must be doing horribly. The Titans press box, or maybe it's doing horribly because they have an unpopular owner.
It always seems packed when I look at it.
Advertising the hell out of it, but how that's your choice to advertise for the press box is beyond me. Like, hi, I'm Jeffrey Simmons, first team All-Pro defender. Why don't you stop by the press box and eat? Or the owner of a increasingly unpopular franchise promoting her airport pet project just seemed I don't understand the marketing decision.
I
This
think
is why
the
I'm
fact
not
that they
in
named it the press box to me is kind of like it's a little nod to you. You and
I
Glennon and Teresa.
Yeah, well, since you're again using the press to their advantage with no benefit to the press.
One more
except for
segment
scones.
with PK coming up next. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day. I got some tickets to give away to see Sal Vulcano at the Ryman Auditorium coming up on Sunday, April the 12th. To caller 5-615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Sal Vulcano at the Ryman Auditorium.
Dennis says Amy's the true silent czar. It's a good point, Dennis.
It actually fits.
It's very well done.
Titans football, silent but deadly.
Oh, man.
Put that with the new logo.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Bumper stickers galore.
The coordinators talking today, the new coordinators for the Tennessee Titans, on the Dable front specifically. I guess what are you most interested to learn today as we hear from Brian Dable as Titans offensive coordinator for the first time?
Well, I mean, you kind of know what he's going to say about the pace of things, but how, changing system, how fast does he expect people to catch on? There's a lot of young guys involved in this. What does he see in Cam that can be emphasized? What does he see in Cam that maybe needs to be de-emphasized? Things along those lines, I think. And for Gus Bradley on the other side, I think there's a story there just in the let's get clarity right out of the gate on what a coordinator on the coach's side of the ball does and doesn't do. People just feel like that's a non-job. And so let's get an explanation right out of the gate of what that is.
I mean, he's still the lead game planner, right?
I don't know. So we'll find.
That's a good question.
We'll find out.
I think another question for Bradley is related to our earlier conversation about this defense. The types of players that work in it. Are there some that don't? Are there stand-up linebackers that, like, do you have to have a certain dimension? Things like that. There you go. Write it down, Park. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, write that stuff down. That's right. And then ask Dayball what he thinks of Tua. You gotta get that one in too.
I don't know that we're gonna have Dayball. I'm sorry. I thought you said so. Never mind. Scratch that.
Just keep taking those notes, buddy.
I'm fine.
Joe Rexrode from The Athletic would like me to ask
Joe
you.
Rexrode, Titans writer at The Athletic. They call me that all the time. I haven't been out here in 4 years. So I'm not actually asking this question.
It's like 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. I go back to
and you
malarkey.
write once every 3 weeks.
Sure.
It's a cushy job you got.
Yeah.
Do you have concerns? The industry is tough.
Yeah, I do have concerns. I have a lot of concerns.
I do see. I mean, he does Titan stuff. He'll do Pred stuff too.
Sure.
College basketball, college football. He's the most versatile guy at The Athletic.
I mean, if I'm Legarius Sneed,
Joe writes for The Athletic.
If I'm Legarius Sneed, a guy that has some anger issues that are documented, and I open The Athletic and I see Joe cutting me, and I say, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Have I ever seen this guy? Has this guy ever looked me in the eye?
I probably should have head on a swivel.
I mean, how many times have you seen Sneed?
A lot more than Joe.
Has he been around?
Lucky you.
Sneed was in the locker room a lot this year.
Okay, that's good.
Talk to him. He knows I'm on the case.
Speaking of Sneed,
I need to check in on Sneed.
Someone did have this question. What would your percentage be that they're cutting Ridley?
50-50.
Really? Only 50-50. I figured you would have been more like 80-20. That is interesting.
You should have checked in with me before you wrote that it was a done deal.
I didn't write that it was a done deal, but now I'm asking.
You wrote probably, I think. I did read it.
Well, I think probably. I still think that. I mean, I know that you're the czar and all, but please tell us why it's 50-50.
I think that they think that he might still be able to help them, given the possibilities in free agency and the draft and how crazy the bidding could be for somebody like Alec Pierce and stuff. I think they'll overpay to a degree, but I don't think they're going to go insane. And while he's slowing down, he still might be faster than some of the options out there. Once you get into the non-Alec Pierce tier of receivers, we talked about some of these guys are more possession types. A Dobbs, a Pittman if he comes free. Who was the third one? Jawan Jennings. What's his speed like?
Not great, not good.
Yeah, and he's projected to get a
guy.
really big contract. So, I'd throw Calvin Ridley into that mix and kind of like consider.
So he's their fallback, is what you're saying, essentially.
Yeah, but you can't fall back because you have to decide on him before you are in play for those other guys. I think because I'm not positive if he's got new money coming at the beginning of this year, NFL calendar year.
Yep.
But there may be.
PK, real quickly, it looks like there's a chance that Kenneth Walker may not be tagged by Seattle, could make it to free agency. You jumping on that if you're the Titans?
I would be very intrigued. I mean, the guy looked awfully good. Now, I mean, they pair him with Zach Charbonnet. You know, he wasn't a full load guy.
And then when he had to be, it was like, oh, wow, he's freaking really good.
He should have been full load guy. Not that Charbonnet wasn't getting it done either. But I'm all in favor of cutting Pollard, getting that $7 million, using that $7 million towards the next guy who should be better than Pollard and more explosive.
Another question real quick on the Bradley, Devondre Sweat.
Yeah, I got that
question. Got it? You got that written down?
Write it down.
Attaboy.
We'll have more of the silent czar with us next week. PK, thank you for being with us.
Don't block the box. Be sure to lock your locks. That's not silent.
Next man up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.